welcome to Aunties Unfiltered.
We're back.
We're back. Absolutely, we're back.
Show number 2, episode 2.
Episode 2. I'm Deidre Malone.
TaJuan Stout Mitchell.
The Gale Jones Carson. And Jones is before Carson. That was my maiden name.
And welcome to the Carter Malone Network.
I'm proud of the Carter Malone Network now. I'm just going to say, my sister girl got her own network right here, y'all.
She
Well,
not playing.
look, ladies, let me just say the first episode was a hit. I mean, it hadn't even been a week. And we've got over 1,000 views.
No, we had 1,000 views in the first few days.
We did.
Like a half a week. I mean, I done looked at some other folk pocket. They don't have what we got. Their numbers not rolling.
Well, I was shocked, but I was also thrilled.
Me too.
And I
then
was
we got
thrilled with
some
some of
really
the
nice
comments.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the comments. Let me tell you what one comment that really stood out to me was somebody who we all adore was Cardell Oren. And Cardell made sure that he wanted everybody to get to know us, our personalities, right?
Right.
You know, not just our friendship, but what we bring to the table. So I thought his comments were really
Well,
sweet.
I thought he said we've been in the rooms where all the stuff was happening. and y'all, there's some haters out there. I'm going to just tell y'all. So I was reading with some woman talking about, some people out here think they speak for the black folks and they have to speak for everybody. I ain't trying to speak for everybody. I'm speaking for Gail. Thank you very much.
And I'm speaking for me, but don't criticize me for speaking my voice, because I'm going to respect the other person's voice, and you should respect my voice. And I don't have to shut up for anybody.
I don't either. But
And you don't.
And
we don't.
Exactly. And one of the problems I have is some people who need to speak up not speaking up, and then when we speak up, or let me say when Gail speak up, then they got a problem with it, but that's their problem.
But you know what? I was also impressed with the fact that we had some viewers who gave us suggestions for topics.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, and about 2 of our topics are suggestions from the audience.
So one of she's like a little daughter to me. She lives in D.C., Tanya Williams. She was like, I want to know what you think about what LeBron said about Memphis. I love the Aunties Unfiltered show. We're going to talk about that. That'll be at the end of our show.
And I got a suggestion from a viewer who wanted us to talk about political debates.
I love it.
And so we're going to talk about that too.
So let's kick it off. Let's talk about what's happening this week. Early voting gets underway.
Early voting starts Wednesday.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow when they see it might be tomorrow. So it's Wednesday, April 15th.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the day.
All right.
Wednesday, April 15th, and the last day to vote early is Thursday, April the 30th, and the times are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., except on Saturdays, it is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and there are 26 early voting sites. And y'all need to vote early, because I'm going to tell you now, if y'all try to vote on election day and don't know where you're supposed to be voting, so many people, they go to the place that they used to vote at, and then they get turned around, and if they go on their lunch hour, or if they go after work and the lines are long, they get deterred and they just won't vote. And so please vote early. And there is a law, I don't know if it's a state or federal law, that employees are allowed at least a couple of hours to go vote. Now, y'all need to be careful now, because I'm going to tell you, when I worked in the mayor's office, Mayor Hendry, don't be listening, there were some people who voted early, and then they took off on election day for a couple hours to go vote, and they had already voted. And y'all need to know, when y'all vote, the date, time, and everything, it is actually recorded, and it is public information. So don't be trying to vote 2 times. Or at least say
Act
vote.
like you voted 2
Right.
times.
Exactly.
Cheat.
Yeah.
Don't be a cheater.
Exactly.
Don't be a cheater.
Right?
And also, you need to vote early, because I can recall when my first election, my husband's dear friend helped him put out all the signs that night. You remember, baby? Put out all the
Hey, Ronnie.
put out all the signs that night for my campaign. And he told my husband he had a bad headache, and the next morning was early voting. And he went and he voted, and he said, I'm going to vote first thing in the morning. And then later on that day, we got a call that he died.
My word.
So you don't count tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not
not
promised.
promised.
This evening is
Yeah.
not promised. All we know about is this very moment, like right now.
But he said he was going to vote for his girl, and his girl
And he
won.
did.
And
And he voted
did.
for you.
And he did
won.
before he died.
Well, it's just, this is a critical election. I mean, for Shelby County, we have so many races on this ballot. Specifically, we're all Democrats, so that's important for Democrats to get out and vote, right?
Well, and actually the ballot is longer for Democrats than it is for the Republicans because many times they don't have opposition.
Yeah.
So they will, they're going to just cruise on to August and run against the Democrat who wins, and they won't have to raise money or work as hard during this time as Democrats. Whomever comes out the Democratic primary, they had to raise money for the primary. Then they got to go raise money for the general to run against the Republicans. So they're kind of going to be starting behind money-wise. And y'all want to talk about the dirty campaigning because it's awful.
Well,
it's just off the chain Memphis.
Let's talk about the mayor's race. You know, we've got how many candidates in this race?
Too many.
Too many.
But everybody has a right to run.
Exactly.
But everybody doesn't have a right to win.
We have McKell Lowry. We have J.B. Smiley. We have Heidi Kuhn. We have Melvin Burgess. We have Harold Collins.
And the former superintendent.
We have the former superintendent of Shelby County Schools. I don't say her name. Then we have
Why
Rusty
you don't say her name?
Quarles.
Because you in a lawsuit.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
That's enough, right?
You ought to be able to make a selection or move on to the next race.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's critical, I think, that Democrats get out and vote specifically for this mayor's race. And I think you should ask the tough questions because for me, it's about if you're a real Democrat, then you voted in Democratic primaries.
We got some folks who have not voted in Democratic primaries. And then we got some people who, one person who didn't vote because they was married to a Republican, and they used that as an excuse. But so I assume the husband must have gone in to
that person didn't vote during the Barack Obama when he was running for office because I asked the person about their voting record.
So her husband went in the booth with her when she voted?
I don't know, but when you vote,
She
vote in a primary, it shows if you voted Democratic or Republican.
Yeah.
Well, the primary does, but the general does not. With the general, you can go back and forth and nobody knows who you voted for.
That's true. That's absolutely
Only in
true.
the primary. And as a matter of fact, as we speak, I understand the Tennessee legislature is looking at making us register by party as some other states do. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but I do know in some other states you do have to register by party.
So, Gail, you mentioned, negative campaigning. We've seen, we've been involved and we've seen campaigns over the years, but I think this is the first piece that came out that we've seen.
That I've received in the mail.
And I just received it yesterday on J.B. Smiley.
So, I got it the other day. And I thought it was interesting that as people are trying to assume or think or guess who sent the piece out, and I guarantee this piece right here, and I ain't going to be showing all the stuff that's on here because I'm not into promoting negative. But this is not a cheap piece to lay out, to design, to print. And then you had to pay expensive postage because I don't see on here where it says permit number 670. So maybe they did get a discount, but it was mailed from Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh.
So, and if you're mailing to strong Democrats, you're going to be mailing to about 35,000 households. So
that's expensive.
That's a nice
printing.
piece of money.
That's a big chunk of money.
Well, and then some of the comments I thought was interesting. These people who supporting candidates, they are all over everywhere attacking folks. So they're going to assume that this candidate sent out this piece about himself. Now, why would he do? And the person, they weren't talking to me. Now they was back and forth with some other folks, each other, and talking about he wanted some sympathy votes, and so he done spent this kind of money
because it's backfiring on him.
It really is,
and I think negative
because
campaigning
people send me text
messages.
messages. I saw folks saying that they would, and so let me just give you an example of how it can backfire sometimes. So many of y'all know Brett Thompson when he first ran for office. In 1992. He ran in 1992. And so a lot of people didn't really know him, but the person who was running against him, he was an appointed person on the state level. So that person had a lot of elected officials supporting him, primarily because they were friends with the man. So a very ugly, nasty piece went out on Brett, and one of the people who was friends with the other guy, the really good friends, he just told me he just strongly opposed to negative campaigning. He just told me, he said, "Yeah, I'm voting for Brett because I don't like this." And how many votes Brett got as a result of that, I have no idea. Did it play a part in him actually winning? I don't know. But I do know candidates will get some votes. I don't know how many. But there are people that helps make their mind up.
Well, that was during the time of the school board race that I was running, and Brett, Jerome Rubin, and I ran as a team. So we sort of, and you don't see that anymore.
Right. So you were running, and so Jerome was running for the council. And Brett was running for state rep.
Right, and we ran as a team.
Okay.
And at that time, we ran as a team because we thought we could help each other in our various roles.
And then you could save money by sharing resources.
The school system needed the ear of the city council. I had a partner on the city council. City council needed the ear of the state. So it worked together. See, I always take another view at negative campaigning. People who do that think they're losing.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
And then number two, and they're desperate to
That's
find a way to get you off your game.
Right.
So I always tell the person that is targeted to, don't focus on that.
Just stay focused
now
on
it's
the
time to
positive.
double up. Whatever you're doing, if you're making 500 calls a day, you need to make 750 calls a day. If you're knocking on 250 doors, you need to knock on 350 doors. Just double up what you're doing because they are worried.
They are.
And then not only just keep talking about what you're doing positive, what you're going to do, what your platform is. That's what you have to do. Keep doing that.
And stay focused on why you're running.
And ladies.
Because that's the bigger goal.
So debate or no debate? We got 10 minutes in the show.
I think you should debate. I think all candidates, it's not about the candidates. It's about the citizens. And the citizens have a right to hear what your views are on different issues. Now, what I'm concerned with debates is that they are more like a show and tell show instead of a real debate. And we used to have real debates with the networks 3, 5, and 13. And I wish they would get together and decide on having, especially like for mayor and sheriff, a real debate and take topics that you're going to focus on. Like Channel 3 could focus on education. Channel 13 could focus on housing and community development, and then economic development for another station. And you would have more breadth of information to form an opinion. Because all we get now is sound bites.
That's it.
But see, now I do believe that there should be debates. However, I don't think you should have to debate folks having them on just like a church on every corner. I wouldn't do every debate. I would not do every debate. And then I really, really wish the people who are having these debates would tell the truth, or at least know and understand what the role of these positions are. They got folks out here running for mayor. The people don't even, they asking about education. The mayor, the county mayor, and the county, according to state law, the county is responsible for funding education. But you have a school board, you have a superintendent, you have administrators. Those people are responsible for policy and the operation of the school system. The mayor can sit over there and talk all he wants about what he think they need to be doing over the school system.
And
that's not his role. The county commission, they will vote on the budget, but they ain't going over there trying to tell them how to do their job. That's not that. You have an elected body, and you have a superintendent who runs the business every day. Then that superintendent has hopefully good people around him or her to handle the school system. And then they're going to add, so if people think the mayor is responsible for schools and the mayor gets elected, the first thing they're going to say, well, you said you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Well, that ain't the person's role. But so it's misleading the voters. But the people who holding these debates, they don't know themselves what the roles are responsible for.
And that's why we also need some real good debates by good journalists.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that, and we just don't have that anymore.
Well, we have some of these journalists, they need to know, too.
They
some
need
of them
a lot of education.
And I think that incumbents should be required to debate.
I
think some incumbents feel like they have the job, they've been there a while, and they don't have to debate you.
And that's
you're
an
a challenger.
entitlement.
It shouldn't be, because you're still required to report to the people that vote for you.
That's
and
right.
they deserve an opportunity.
It's
to
like
hear
a
from
job
you.
interview. You're not going to give me a job and I haven't had an interview.
Exactly.
And somebody's going to talk to me in depth. And that's why I think when we listen to the presidential debates, they have maybe 2 topics that they're going to cover. And they ask several questions on those 2 topics, not just
Well,
get your
I agree about
soundbite.
doing about topic. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I love that idea. Okay, 10 minminutes, ladies. 2
You
things.
said that a minute ago.
I know, but I was just trying to make sure we kept it moving.
Okay.
All right.
So do we got? You know that caboose over there.
I know. I'm trying to keep the train moving.
all right.
That caboose over there want to go there next time.
We're going to drink some tea as we talk. All right.
That caboose about to go all the way.
So we got 2 more topics, right?
Okay.
I want to talk about the proposed SAVE Act. Like, you've got President Trump. I did say his name. I hate I said his name.
It's 45, 47.
45, 47.
Okay.
He really wants to, and Congress has already approved it. The House has. The Senate hasn't. But they're
Well, they
trying
turning
to.
on him right now.
I'm hoping they turn and they don't do this, because it's another form of voter oppression, right? It is. TaJuan, how long you been married? What is your birth certificate?
39 years.
What does your birth certificate say? So if you don't have like
It says Scott.
okay, so I've been Deidre Carter Malone. No, Deidre Dion Malone for 42 years. So my birth certificate says Deidre Dion Carter. You would have to take your birth certificate.
I got my birth certificate.
You would
But
have to
you-
take, but your birth
Not
certificate
everybody.
says Gale Jones.
It says Gale D. Jones.
Okay, so they're saying
Why
that
is
you
my
would have to
phone
take
keep doing this?
you would have to take your birth certificate and other ID in order to register to vote.
And
It's
see,
another
that
form of
seems
voter
so
suppression.
Well,
counterproductive.
so
It is.
so they saying women won't be able to vote.
They're
Well,
trying
they
to
don't like us
suppress
anyway. But
Our vote.
But,
That's what they're trying to do.
But that seems so counterproductive when they ask us to get these stars on our ID.
Real ID.
And when I got my real ID, I took my birth certificate in. I took my marriage license.
of it.
Because I used a divorce name because of my children, I even took my divorce papers. So the star should indicate that I am a citizen. Will that not suffice?
Well, and TaJuan, my 84-year-old.
Oh, I know. My 97-year-old mama,
I
she
had to
wouldn't
take
know
her.
what nothing is.
We had to take her, and we had to go find, because she had remarried, so we had to go get her marriage license and all of that. 84.
Okay,
Voter suppression.
so since this seems to be targeted toward women, y'all remember when women got the right to vote? A man, was it in Tennessee?
Tennessee.
It was a woman, a mother, who talked her son into casting the vote to give us the right to vote. So women got to step up and make sure those men don't vote for this foolishness.
Yep.
But you know, now I have noticed in our voting patterns,
Yeah, I know. I know. I know 92% of us voted right. I'm still trying to figure out who that
92% of
88%
us
is.
are free,
Yeah.
independent
who
thinkers.
those 8%?
And then most of our counterparts, white women, they vote with their husbands.
Well, but
So
we didn't
that-
think they was going to do it a second time, but they did.
Like they did with Hillary,
Yeah.
they did the
So
same
that-
thing with Kamala.
That would be good if we were independent thinkers, but not all women are independent thinkers.
That's true.
Well,
National politics, y'all.
you talking about the SAVE Act?
Oh, we already talked about that. Let's talk about LeBron.
Well, our message right there is for women.
That's right.
Because these men ain't going to be in the booth with you when you're in there voting now. Y'all need to vote the right way. And then y'all know how to control. Y'all need to talk to these men.
and then the advocacy piece is reach out to your state U.S. senator, your U.S. congressperson, and tell them how to vote. Even though ours in Tennessee is not going to listen to you, it's still your responsibility to reach out to Haggerty and Blackburn and tell them that you are against this SAVE Act, right?
Yeah.
You're against it. All right. What did LeBron say about Memphis, y'all?
Well, he talked about the hotels. And then he did throw in there that he didn't want to be in Memphis. And he said Milwaukee, don't leave out Milwaukee on a Thursday night.
You need Memphis and Milwaukee alone.
But see, but the other NBA players who talked about the hotels, I need to point this out. Memphis, the city of Memphis doesn't own those hotels. That means these businesses, these owners need to step up and handle their business. And like the Westin, they talked about the Westin. That's a national hotel. And I remember when they built that hotel, when they built the Grizzlies, when the Grizzlies came here, they made rooms where the beds were long enough for them. They did a lot of things, but it's a long time ago. So the brands that these folks are talking about, those owners, they're the ones who need to step up and take care of those hotels, because that's mostly what they can. Now Brian gonna remind me. He said, "Well, Mama, one or two of them said it was robbed." Well, I don't know if that was Memphis, but anyway. But as far as the hotels go, the owners need to take care of their hotels.
Well, I was disappointed in his remarks because they were hurtful and dismissive of Memphis. Yeah. And I think Memphis is a city. I don't care. Whoever said it, they're in the same boat. If you're not trying to help strong black cities become better, and you're not trying to help us when you're dismissive and say just pull the team out of there, that's not trying to help us. And then it was the audience he was saying it around. Let's just.
And how did it get
And
out?
he started joking about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was helpful at all. But I
Who
will.
leaked it?
I don't know. Somebody filmed it, and somebody, because it was a joke to them. And that white audience he was around, they were laughing at Memphis, and
were they laughing at Memphis, or were they laughing?
And he was allowing it, and that really disappointed me. Now I'm just going to tell the truth. Now, here's the part about Memphis. I think we have to recognize that we have not taken a look at ourselves and the tourism industry and what we can improve and what y'all calling it in marketing, rebrand the image and the work that we want to do toward hospitality industry, because we expect a lot of money from the hospitality industry, and I don't want his mouth to be on our business. And if that means taking all the hotel owners, the head of tourism, and y'all have a conference somewhere and talk about the industry and figure out what you can do to improve it, do that. And with the mayor's blessing.
But you know, one of the things that's come out too, I read a commentary from a journalist in Nashville, and many people who are keying in or weighing in on this, they're talking about how damaging it would be financially and economically if the Grizzlies left Memphis. And they talked about all the rich culture and why we deserve to have a Grizzlies team here. And
I'm surprised he couldn't be in tune with that. He should have connected with that.
He said move it to Nashville.
Yeah, he was.
This person who wrote the commentary said, started naming all the positive things in Nashville, saying basically we don't need that here. Let Memphis keep it.
And that's why I said he was dismissive of Memphis. And that's what hurts, because so many of us have respected and admired him for his generosity and some things he's done. Now, MJ, Michael Jordan is still the GOAT to me.
He is the GOAT.
I don't even know why they do the comparison. I mean, and the reason I say I don't know why they do the comparison, because a lot of them are good, and I don't think you have to compare people. They each are good in their own right, and I really don't like those comparisons. I think MJ is good. I think he's good. And Steph, that's my guy. I'm just saying, I don't like the comparisons. They all good.
But that's life.
Well... Ladies, this has been a great discussion.
We got 2 more minutes.
That's why some checks are bigger than others.
We got a few more minutes.
Let me just say then, folks need to stop attacking Memphis. Memphis is a lot going, but we've been in the national news a lot lately. Gail, we've been in the national news a lot lately. XAI, all of these. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep talking.
No, Deidre, we need to, first of all, we're going to get mad at other people attacking Memphis. And who attack Memphis more than the people who live here? Nobody attacks Memphis more than people who live here.
That's an excellent point.
Nobody does.
Well, then...
Love Memphis.
I guess that we can talk about our cheering, but can't nobody else talk about it.
Now, that's true.
But that's the truth.
You better
we can talk about it among ourselves, but when we talk about it, it should be about what are we going to do to progress it.
Well,
right?
but Memphis not doing it. And I'm going to tell you, when I worked
We're doing it.
When I worked at FedEx,
we're doing it.
When I worked at FedEx,
we're doing it.
We're doing it. We're not dismissive of Memphis,
though. Anyway, so when I
we're not dismissive of Memphis.
Not.
But
we
that's
want
just two people.
Just the two of us, not you.
I don't talk negative about my city.
No, we don't either. That's what we were saying.
Oh, okay. But anyway, when I worked at FedEx, I had the opportunity to meet people from around the world who came here. And they had a greater appreciation for Memphis than the people who live here who ain't been nowhere else. I argue with people, and I ain't even say who, all the time because talking about Memphis. And whatever they say about Memphis, I go and I get some reels and show them happening in Atlanta. It's happening here. It's happening here. It's not just Memphis, but people in Memphis are harder on Memphis than other people. But we want to jump these other people. Let's jump these people right here in Memphis.
Well, we need to start talking positively about the city that we
do.
live.
So you know,
but
New York started this campaign many years ago. I love New York, and they do love
New York.
They don't ever have to leave out of New York.
Mayor of New York and everything he's done in the last 100
He finna have grocery stores on every corner.
He's teaching everybody how to be a mayor.
I love it. I love it.
But
Aunties,
does he have the money?
Aunties.
Does he have the money for what?
To do some of the stuff he talking about.
Oh,
doing?
he secured some funds to do some of the things.
He went to Washington too to meet with Trump. Trump don't give him whatever he needs.
He's got daycare for folk.
Well, that's real good. But I read today he also going to make sure, we have food desert because there's not grocery stores. And so he said within the next 100 days, he's going to have so many grocery stores in all these neighborhoods.
I wish I could pull up the article, but you should go back and look at the article about the things he's done in the last 100 days. And it's measurable results.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Well, he had a major press conference today talking about, y'all know we don't have good diets sometimes because we don't have fruits and vegetables. So he's going to make sure that there are grocery stores in the neighborhoods.
That's wonderful.
Within the next
and I did have people to ask me if we're going to ever talk about the Chamber of Commerce's money. I said, well, we don't talk about folks' money.
You talking about folks saying, no, we ain't talking about folks. I don't talk about folks' because they stay in our business. I remember when I told y'all
we
last
don't talk
time.
about folks' money.
Look, when I left the city to go to MLGW, they opened me up on A1 above the 4. I opened up to 4 o'clock, to 5 o'clock, to 6 o'clock, to 9 o'clock, and to 10 o'clock news by myself.
But I don't know many people who make $700,000 and got
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Aunties Unfiltered. We ready to close it out?
Read Smart City. He talks about the poverty level here in Memphis and about their salaries. So.
Okay.
And I always read Tom Jones articles.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. I love Tom Jones articles.
Aunties Unfiltered, it's time to
is it 30 minutes?
It's past 30 minutes.
Oh, we got to cut.
Okay.
We're going to cut some of you out. We're going to cut some of these.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
How do you
Y'all
say
get that? We can get down to the 30 minutes.
That's that 5-year-old down there. That's that 5-year-old down there.
Everybody, thank you for watching Aunties Unfiltered. Join us for the next episode. I'm Deidre Malone.
I'm TaJuan Stout Mitchell.
And I'm Gale Jones Carson.
Make sure you watch the Carter Malone Network.
Aunties Unfiltered, y'all. Respect the legacy.